Good evening, everyone. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 23, PL 75, I hereby state that adequate notice of this special meeting has been provided to the public by a written notice dated April 26, 2017. The meeting notice has been, one, posted on the bulletin board located inside each school building and the Board of Education office, two, communicated to at least one of the board's designated newspapers, and three, filed with the borough's clerk for Palisades Park. Roll call, please.
Ms. Alvarez is absent. Mr. Paul Kim is absent. Ken Bruno.
Here.
Howard Donovan.
Here.
Connie Wang. Jason Kim.
Yes.
John Madison.
Here.
Anthony Rotundo.
Here.
Jeffrey Wolf.
Here.
Dr. Cirillo.
Here.
Mr. Sevilla. Mr. Barbarone's in the ladies' room. Okay.
Well, I don't have anything the president is not here, unfortunately, so I don't have, if she had anything to say, I don't know what she would say, so I don't have anything to say. Well, I can say that at the end. Minutes was approved for 10/18/17 and 11/15/17 special meetings.
I make the motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Kenny?
Yes.
Ken Bruno?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any discussion on them? Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
I recuse, I was absent on those.
On both,
I think I was.
excuse me?
Yeah, I think I was.
Ms. Wang? Yes. Mr. Jason Kim?
Yes.
Mr. John Madison?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony Rotundo?
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey Wolf?
Yes on October, and I recuse myself for November.
All right, next is annual audit presentation. Mr. Steve Wilcox is here in the audience. I'll give you the floor, Steve. Stand up then.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to briefly talk to you about the June 30th, 2017 audit report of the district. We once again provided a clean opinion, a qualified opinion on the financial statements of the Pal Park Board of Ed for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2017. Everybody has what we call the small book, which is the management letter. It contains a number of findings relative to certain pieces of the operation of the district. They came up during the audit. None of them would be considered material to the financial statements, individually or collectively. There were 2 repeats from last year, which is always something you have to be careful of because the state pays extra attention if there's repeat comments. We will have a corrective action plan from the business administrator to come before the board in order to accept, which will provide the plan going forward to remediate the 2017 findings, and hopefully when we meet again in another year, hopefully. Certainly there may be some findings, but the key here is that the repeat ones get remediated. Not a big deal to have findings that are not material. The state, especially when they monitor, the state takes particular exception if there's repeats. So with that, I would entertain any questions from the board.
I have one. Just because I was reading over it and it seemed pretty concerning to me. On page 3, when it says that we should be ensuring that employee benefits are offered only to current employees and their relations. Are there employees that were, either no longer working for the district that were still receiving benefits?
There was, I believe there was a timing issue with employees that left the district and when they were taking off the health benefits.
Okay.
So it's not like somebody's been on the benefits for 5 years.
Okay.
It more of, it just, there's a timing issue.
Yeah, just, like I said, it jumped out at me and I wanted to ask.
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. If it was something like that, then I would say I would consider that material.
Yeah.
Here it's something, it just was a timing thing.
Steve, on those repeat, findings,
Yes.
what if any progress has been made on resolving those?
Well, I know I had a meeting with the superintendent and the business administrator about 6 weeks ago to go through the preliminary draft of the audit, the preliminary findings. You should know that there were other findings in the preliminary draft that were remediated when we met, things that, documents that weren't produced during the audit that were subsequently produced based on the preliminary findings, which is the way we always do it. As I like to say to my staff, you put everything in, and then I'll be the good guy. You come back and you provide documentation that this doesn't belong here, and then I have no problem taking it out. If, I don't know, Paul, on the one, I know we talked about 2017-3, which is the position control roster. I know you're in the process of fixing that.
Correct, no, it's getting the information in our accounting system. That's where we need to start, getting the information, updated in our accounting system. Make sure it goes to personnel first, then payroll, and then the.
No, my only concern was that we're on board this, particularly on the repeat fund.
Correct.
That we're on board this year to have that resolved this year.
We had that conversation, and the only other repeat finding had to do with classification of expenditure, which,
Was one item.
again, it's a financial audit and a compliance audit. So because it's also a compliance audit, it doesn't have to be material to be a finding. So typically, when you do a financial audit, you test transactions, and if you have one exception out of a sample, it's really, depending on the exception, it's not considered to be that big of a deal. In this particular situation, what the Department of Ed makes us do is if there is one exception, it can be immaterial, it can be $3.80, it's a finding. So, again.
Yeah, I know, they want you to classify the
Yeah, they're
expenditures properly.
they're tough.
If I may, in that instance, it was, when the order was put in, it was for, should have been software. I took it out as it being a piece of equipment.
Capital expense.
That's why anything over 2,000 is considered equipment. When I saw that on the purchase order, I took it as an equipment, only later to find out it's really software, instructional software.
Mhm.
So we have noted that, that's already been corrected.
Okay, good.
Any questions? Any other questions? Steve, again, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you, Steve.
Always a pleasure.
Wish
Thanks for your time.
you and your staff and Kerry, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you.
You're good. Take care, happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Report of the superintendent, Dr. Cirillo.
Sure, I have a few things. There is one resolution I would need a revision on. About 2 months ago, we annually have to submit our statement of assurances and district performance reviews to the state. We had to make 2 small modifications that were brought to my attention by the county office. They've already been made. Upon a resolution of the board, I will submit them. They're nothing major. It's not something that we should overly concern ourselves with. One of them had to do with governance. As we all are familiar with ethic forms, we have to complete them, submit them. If they're not done in a timely fashion, it can raise a red flag, and it did. So I would need a resolution on that. I want to acknowledge that on December 7th of 2017, once again, the Korean Education Center in New York donated to the Palisades Park Board of Education $10,000. So that definitely deserves special recognition and public acknowledgement. So I thank them for it. I will go on record and thank the board again because the lack of timing with regard to our last meeting, this past Friday afternoon, children in our 21st century were afforded the opportunity to meet with the governor, the commissioner of education, and other children from the northern New Jersey area at the New Jersey Devils game, where they were all instructed on making better choices in life. This all had to do with the opioid concern that the epidemic we're faced with in this area, unfortunately. But I thought the kids were remarkably well behaved. I thank the chaperones for taking out a Friday night of their lives and being at the arena, Prudential Center. And for many of these kids, for the first time seeing a hockey game, it really was a great time. So I thank the board for allowing that. And last but not least, I just wholeheartedly wish you and your families a happy holiday season and a happy and healthy 2018.
Thank you, Dr. Cirillo. Report of the attorney, Mr. Barbarone.
Yes, we were going to have a memorandum of agreement with the supervisors present tonight. Mr. Kim is not available this evening, and I notified the entire board. And I only have one member of the committee who was actually at the meeting where we finalized it, so it was requested that we put it off till January, so we're not gonna vote on it this evening. And I'm just notifying Jen Tennant and Cindy Lutas. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Barbarone. Report of the committees, Mr. Matisic. I have 12 resolutions. I move on a consent agenda on all 12. Second. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was the second one? Bruno. Okay, Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Jason Kim?
Yes.
Mr. Matisic?
Yes.
Mr. Rotundo?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Reports of the buildings and grounds, Mr. Donovan.
Yes, I have no official report tonight, but given that, I guess this is my last official meeting as a member of the board, I would like to thank everyone for their cooperation. Mr. Cirillo, it was great working with all of you guys, and it was great working with you people too as well. I had a good time. I've been with the borough for many, many years, since I'm 18 years old, doing a lot of different jobs, most of them volunteer, and I think it's time to take a little time. We got a new early Christmas present this year. My one daughter had her first child, so something else to keep me busy. And although I officially retired from my primary employment back in 2011, I am still working, and the current company I'm working for is probably working me twice as hard as I did there. So, I've enjoyed working with the board, but like I said, I think it's time that I need to reallocate my time. So, thanks again, and Merry Christmas.
Mr. Donovan, on behalf of the board and the teachers, I thank you for your service. I will not tell your older daughter that your younger daughter's baby now has forced you off the board. You just told her yourself. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Personnel, Mr. Wu, Jeffrey.
Yes. Before you are 12 resolutions. I make a motion that we move on all 12.
I'll second.
Any questions,
I just want to
discussions?
wish, Mr. Cronin and Mr. Rogoleski good luck in their retirement. I had Cronin as a gym teacher for many years when I was there, and I worked for many years with John Rogoleski. And it's sad to see them go, but I do wish them luck in whatever they do in their future.
Roll call.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan?
Yes, on all but number 7, which I recuse.
Ms. Bryant? Yes. Mr. Jason Kim?
Yes.
Mr. Matisic?
Yes, and like Anthony said, with regret, I've known John Rogoleski for so many years. Being on the board, yeah, I'm sure he's going to be sorely missed. I wish him the best, and Mr. Cronin also.
Mr. Rotundo?
Yes.
And Mr. Wood?
Yes, and I'd like to congratulate Dr. Cirillo for being our new school safety specialist.
You know what that means?
You crossing guard.
Thank you. Guys, before we move on, and again, in new business, I am going to seek a resolution to revise the CUSAC after 41 years of dedication to our district. I would also think that the time is right that the board consider renaming and dedicating the Palisades Park Gymnasium in John Robleski's name. So if that is something you would consider, I would make a recommendation verbally tonight for you all to consider for new business.
Curriculum, Mr. Kim, Jason Kim.
I have nothing to report this time.
I guess negotiation was tabled. Yes. Policy, Mr. Rotundo.
In front of you, they're in the folder itself. We have the first reading of 5 policies that had to be revised. In cases of where school administrators need to be involved, Mrs. Montanaro sent out emails to them to get their feedback on the changes, and there has not been any negative feedback. But again, this is just the first reading.
Thank you. PTA, PTSA, student activities.
We have to go.
You have a-
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
We need a second first.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Ms. Wang. Yes. Mr. Jason Kim.
Yes.
Mr. Mattisich.
Yes.
Mr. Rotundo.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Connie Wang.
So just for some student activities, the PPHS Dramatic Art Society will be presenting Grease the Musical, high school version, on Friday and Saturday, January 12th and 13th, 2018, beginning at 7 p.m. The PPHS classes of 2018, 2019, and 2020 will present the annual talent show on Friday, April 13th, 2018 at 7 p.m. Both of these events are fundraisers for the DAS and for senior class activities. Next year, senior prom class of 2019 will be held on a Wednesday evening, June 5th, 2019 at the Venetian in Garfield. There are 3 resolutions, 3 field trips. I make a motion to consent on all 3.
Second that.
How we seconded.
Okay, yes.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Ms. Wang.
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim.
Yes.
Mr. Mattisich.
Yes.
Mr. Rotundo.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
Calendar and food, Mr. Connie.
No report at this time.
New Jersey School Board Liaison. Ken Bruno.
Mr. Manager, no report at this time.
Old business. No old business? New business?
Mr. President, I would like to make that motion as suggested by Dr. Cirillo to name the high school gymnasium after John Robleski.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on it?
What should be the official?
What should we do, Rich? Can we just take a roll call now? or-
Says you can put it in the resolution.
So I think we will come up with an official name when the time is right. His resignation, retirement was actually handed to me today. We all knew it was coming. He wanted it accepted tonight. I guess this is his own Christmas present to himself after 41 years of being here. But again, whether the naming or dedication of it probably would not happen now. It could happen next year. But I just think the time is right now, and that 41 years is a lifetime. And he's dedicated himself to this community. It's a very, very small gesture for us to reciprocate.
You can do it symbolically and make sure that the policy is followed. I know we've done it in the past. I know when they named this school after that superintendent, we don't remember. We had to follow the policy. So as long as we do that, so you can do it ceremoniously, basically this evening, if you want to do it that way for John's sake.
So we need a roll call? Roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Ms. Wang.
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim.
Yes.
Mr. Mattisich.
Yes.
Mr. Rotundo.
Yes.
Mr. Wood.
Yes.
I'd also
I
like-
also, thank you.
I'd also like now to move the recommendation of accepting the superintendent's changes to the USAC governance.
I'll second that.
Roll call on that?
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Donovan.
Yes.
Ms. Wang.
Yes.
Mr. Jason Kim.
Yes.
Mr. Mattisich.
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Rotundo?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
All right, we'll open it to audience participation.
President, I'm sorry. On the new business, I just wanted to give an update regarding the request for proposals. The deadline was Tuesday, December 18th. Right at this time, we have received 9 proposals for the architects. There were 7 proposals for the attorneys. I've already disqualified one of them due to the fact that the proposal was received after the 10 a.m. deadline that we had set, and the order is there was only one submittal. We'll begin the review and then present back to the board.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Audience participation,
I'll make a motion to open audience participation.
second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Audience participation, yes.
Kathy Doheny, co-president of the PPA. I'd just like to take this opportunity to applaud the teachers, the staff members, administrators, everyone who participated in the Giving Tree activity. A lot of students, their families are financially challenged, and the teachers brought gifts. They delivered them. They've given of their own time, and I think they need to be recognized for the fact that they always step up when somebody in the community is in need. So I just want you to be aware of how many of them participated and what a tremendous, Mrs. Babanco, all of the people at ECC, they've done an incredible job giving gifts to people who may not have gotten them without it.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They did a good job. And we thank you, Mr. Donovan, too.
Anybody else? Make a motion to close. Someone make a motion to close. Motion to close.
Second.
Out of practice.
Do we need to go close?
We need to go to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
To close.
Oh, thank you.
Will you go close?
Don't you say?
No close.
What?
She told me no.
Second, making.
All right, so we'll table it because we did have one. We did have one for this
We
meeting.
had them last month.
Yeah,
Did they have one?
Okay, we'll vote on
You guys have it.
3.
there's 3 days. You want to table it till for January?
it. Please.
Yeah. All right.
I don't have anything. Oh, we'll be okay. They will all set them. Okay.
I can make a motion to close the meeting?
Well, before you close again, I'd like to say, want to wish all the board members here Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and of course the teachers. What Ms. Doheny just said sounded very great. I know they've been doing it every year, and I wish all of you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And the same
Same to you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Too.